Yeah,
we're ready to go?
Yeah, of course, whenever you're ready.
Let's go for it.
Okay, great. Right, we're going to get started and wanted to first of all say a big welcome and thank you for joining us for our Oaklands Arsenal Women Football Academy virtual open evening this evening. Really pleased to have anybody that's keen to know a little bit more about our programme joining us this evening. Many of you may have already expressed an interest in joining our programme but not been able to join us or been able to come in and attend a trial with us. So as part of that, we felt it would be a great opportunity to at least meet with you, give you a little bit of an update, tell you a little bit about our programme in the meantime, and hope that at some point restrictions may lift so that for those of you that are still keen to come and attend Oaklands and join us at the Football Academy can still trial with us before we get started. So a big welcome to you all this evening, and hopefully this evening will give you an opportunity to find out a little bit more about more the football programme and our Football Academy that we run in conjunction with Oaklands than necessarily an update around the college. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about the academic side of Oaklands, then there are a number of virtual, online, open evening, open events and sessions that are available on our website. So if you do want to find out a little bit more and want to view those, then you can view those via the college website. But tonight's really about an opportunity for us to tell you a little bit more about the programme, and for you to meet with our coaching staff and find out a little bit more about the programme that you may be still interested in joining us in September. So my name is Tessa. I'm the Academy Manager at Arsenal Women and oversee the Oaklands College programme. And I'm going to take you through a number of slides. I'm also going to introduce you to some of our staff this evening, and hopefully we can give you a little bit more of information to help you maybe make a decision. So first of all, wanted to just make sure that you're all aware, obviously, of the programme at Oaklands. We're based at the St Albans campus as a further education establishment in St Albans, for some of you that may be joining us from further afield. Approximately about 10,000 full-time students, but a range of different student qualifications and courses that are run across the college. The students that do attend Oaklands have an opportunity to study a whole variety of different courses, including A-levels, BTECs and vocational qualifications, all the way through from animal husbandry, agriculture, horse riding, right the way through to engineering, carpentry, you name it. The college has a real diverse programme of academic opportunities for students to join with us. So the St Albans campus is also home to the Oaklands Wolves Sports Academies, of which Arsenal Women and our Football Academy is one of 8 of the different sports that are currently run out of the St Albans campus. And obviously the idea of the sports academies is that it enables students to be able to combine their education with sport in an elite environment, and gain their academic qualifications whilst also continuing to gain high level elite training for their particular sports. And as you can see there, we've got a whole range of different sports that we work alongside with at the academy, from athletics, cycling, hockey, rugby, ourselves as women's football, men's football programme, basketball and netball. So a whole range of different sports that we offer, and all of the academies run very closely together, and we all interlink and work very closely with the sports department, which is also a big part of the college sort of campus and the Oaklands College programme. So That's a little bit about the campus and the college, and a little bit more really now to just give you a little bit of an how we became involved with Oaklands at Arsenal. So Arsenal women actually re-established their link with Oaklands in August last year, having previously run an academy, and a really successful academy. It was actually one of the very first academies to ever be set up in the UK for girls to be able to combine their education with football. And this was at a time when the likes of Jordan Nobbs, who is obviously a current first team player with us in England International, alongside Alex Scott, who both attended Oaklands and were part of the college and part of the Arsenal Academy programme a number of years ago. So last year we sort of reignited the link with Oaklands, which now enables us to provide further opportunities for female footballers from age 16 upwards to continue their football development, with the support of all of our Arsenal women coaching team, who you'll find out and meet in a little while. So the Oaklands College is also now our principal education provider for Arsenal women. So from our WSL Academy, our under-21s programme, also now are sort of based at Oaklands College, and they become our sort of main provider for a number of the girls that come through our programme. So there will be a number of our WSL Academy players that may be sort of teetering on the edge or even being involved in our first team training environment, also attending Oaklands and being part of the at the different levels of our provision that we can provide across the college. So that's a little bit about us. Arsenal, very much one of the leading women's programmes in women's football, who've driven the game forwards. But one of our key missions is really about trying to develop young female players from our youth programme, whether that's through our academy, on our RTC and youth teams, right the way through from our academy to also this programme now as a college programme to help us identify potential and help develop players that might progress and play for our first team. Very much to try and help develop all of the players to reach their potential, whether that may be playing for our first team or playing for other clubs. But the most important thing about what I think we're really keen to ensure is that all of our players come into our programme and they're supported in a very much a holistic way that develops them, not just as footballers, but as people. And that we hope that they become very polite, well-rounded, independent young women as well as footballers, and their development as people, not just as players, is very much at the heart of what we do as we try to grow and develop those players over the course of their time with us, whether that may be in a first team environment, the college programme, our player development programme, or any of the different programmes that we run. So that's our aim. What I'd like to do now is just introduce you to a little bit to the staff that work across the programme. So you'll see on here that we've got a range of staff from that work across the team. So I'm going to start by introducing Elliot Allen. So Elliot's our head coach at the academy. And I'm going to give Elliot a chance to say a few words and just tell you a little bit about himself, and then we'll introduce the rest of the team. So Elliot, over to you.
Cheers, Tess. Firstly, thanks everyone for joining today. As Tess said, I'm the head coach of the Oaklands programme. My other roles at the club include head coach of the Under-21s Academy, and I'm also youth development phase lead, which entails me overseeing the Under-14s and Under-16s programmes. So effectively, I'll be overseeing players' development at the club from Under-14s all the way up into Under-21s, and hopefully be able to make that step into first team football as well, which Tess mentioned before. I'll probably be your main point of contact, so you'll see me every single day from September. I'll be on site most of my time, so you'll see my face a lot. And like I said, I'll be kind of overseeing everyone's development and making sure everyone gets the most out of the programme. Thanks, Tess.
Thank you, Elliot. I'm going to move you over to Lucy now, if that's okay. And Lucy, would you like to just tell us a little bit? Lucy's the picture in the middle, if you can't see her.
Centre of attention.
Yeah, Lucy's right in the middle of the screen right now. And Lucy, come and join us and say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Tess. So I've been at Arsenal for nearly 5 seasons now, and I'm the head coach of the under-12s currently, and also the assistant coach of this Oaklands program. My educational background is in psychology, so I bring in a bit of something a bit different to the college program, to allow you as a player to become more of that holistic approach that we were speaking about. So not just footballers, but people that are able to cope under pressure, and an educational background, how you cope with exams, etc. So from us as a whole team, we've got a lot of different experiences that will allow you to get more than just a football program. So yeah, I'll be working alongside Elliot in training sessions, and yeah, unfortunately you'll be with me every single day as well. So that's just part of the package. I also do the administration side of the college program. So any questions you got on the education side or about games and fixtures, I'll be the person for you to see, as I'll be organising referees and just the added little bit of detail that you might not see on a match day. So hopefully my administration skills provide excellent throughout the season, so there's no backlashes, but hopefully you're in safe hands.
Brilliant, thank you, Lucy. Ian, would you? So Ian is our goalkeeper coach. He's the picture in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So, Ian, would you like to say a few words and a quick hello as well?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, hiya. Yeah, Ian, as Tess said, I've been at Arsenal for 6 years. I'm the goalkeeper coach for various different teams. I'm the goalkeeper coach for the under-21 WSL Academy goalkeepers. I'm also the goalkeeper coach for our under-16 and under-14 goalkeepers in our RTC. And like Elliot, I'll be on site at the college every day, so you'll see me every day, and I'll be coaching the elite and development goalkeepers as part of Oaklands College. So look forward to seeing some of you then.
Thanks, Ian. And the last one that I've got to join us in our staff is Laura. Laura's our physio sports therapist that makes sure we can keep you guys all on the pitch. So Laura is sort of centre but top of the centre of your screen. So Laura, come and say a quick hello.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'll be on site every day helping out with both teams. Hopefully you won't have to spend too much time with me, but I'll be trying to keep you as fit and healthy as possible and on the pitch and playing as much football as you can.
Thanks, Laura. The last picture that you can see on the left-hand side of your screen is Amy Shaw. Amy's our physical performance and S&C coach. Unfortunately, Amy's working this evening, so couldn't quite join us for the meeting and the event. But Amy joined us, having previously worked at Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon's Boys Academy, lives locally. She's a coach as well as an S&C coach, and Amy's working with our WSL under 21s program. She'll work with the college program again on a daily basis, and she also runs her own personal PT business as well. So again, you've got a real range and a real mix and hopefully a really well experienced group of staff that support the football side of things. Obviously, we also have a support team around the college to sort of help with all of the academic side, to ensure that you're managing your academics as well as your football. But at least you can see that the team, the football side of the team and the support program we've got in place to hopefully help manage and support your development over the course of the time that you're with us. So that's the team. And obviously myself sort of overseeing the management of the program. So bear with me for 1 second, because hopefully that's just clicked on to the next slide. Everybody see that one? Yep. Okay, so what I want to do now is just provide you with a quick opportunity to understand where the programme sits in amongst the whole pathway that we have at Arsenal Women. So we run a range of different programmes. At the top, you'll see our first team. So that's our women's professional first team that plays in the WSL. At the bottom of the pathway, you'll see some of the activities that we run as a club that supports everything from local participation sessions, sister clubs, working with schools. We then run a development programme, which we very often see some of the girls come through the development program and then join the Oaklands College Academy program, because it provides a next step for those girls that turn 16. We also have our RTC, or our Youth Academy, that again is a 9 to 16s age group, and they feed into the college program, but their aim is also to step into our WSL Academy program before they step into our first team. Forgive me, my dog has just decided that she's going to have a little bit of a bark, so bear with me 2 seconds. The next thing that we're going to look at is our football program that sits within the college program. So as you saw there in that last slide, there was a sort of a box on there that talks about the Oaklands program, and this slide probably shows a little bit more of the detail within that. So within the college, we run 3 different teams, and the pathway then enables us to support players and students in that full-time education, as well as sort of an elite football training environment. So as players that might be interested in coming into the program, we can offer those players at the very top end of football, of the women's game, at a WSL Academy program. So that is really aimed at players that may be playing at international level, or playing at sort of an academy top level across the country, or even potentially, as I said, internationals. The Oaklands sort of the Red Elite program, so our sort of second squad, is our sort of main college team, who would play in the English Schools FA Premier League divisions, and that program is really aimed at players that may have either come from an RTC, may have come from a player development program, or played at high club level. And then the last sort of program and sort of squad that we run is our Oaklands AWFC development program, and that's aimed at players who maybe haven't played at the highest level, but they're keen to develop and progress. They're keen to have as much football training as they possibly have, which they may not have had the opportunity to experience before, whilst combining it with their education, and ultimately to also then have the opportunity to progress through the pathway. So the idea being that no matter what level you're at in this pathway, it also enables you to step up into the next level. So for example, if you were to join us and as part of the development squad, you would always have the opportunity to step up into the elite squad, and ultimately from the elite squad into our WSL Academy program, and ultimately the players that are in the WSL Academy program are aspiring to step into our Arsenal Women first team, and we've seen that happen a couple of times last year with players like Melissa Phyllis, who is just graduating from Oaklands as a student, but also made her first team debut with the Arsenal women's first team, and will be joining them for pre-season again when we get started again. And also saw players step from the elite program into the WSL and make their debut in the academy program as well. So all of the 3 squads all train at Oaklands, and train together. The staff work together across all of the 3 squads, which means that you'll have the opportunity to train with different squads, but also train with the different staff. So it's not like we keep the squads completely separate. We like to know and want players to be able to have different opportunities and experiences with different members of staff that work across the academy. But ultimately, when it comes to match days on Wednesdays, then the players may then be allocated into their different squads to play in the different divisions and competitions that we play in. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of the pathway that's in place. I'm going to just hand you over to Elliot now, who's just going to talk through a little bit about the sort of day-to-day, what your timetable might look like if you were to join us. So Elliot, I'm going to just hand over to you to talk about the next couple of slides about our sort of training program and combining the football with attending their lessons.
No worries. Thanks, Tess. So as you can see on your screen now, that kind of gives you a brief of what the schedule looks like Monday to Friday, but I'll just go into a little bit more detail with it. So every morning, as you can see, is going to be your lessons. Lessons obviously take priority over football. So if there are any lessons and football clashes, you are required to be in your lessons first, and then football comes afterwards. But hopefully, you know, with the planning Oaklands do, we'll kind of eliminate as many football clashes as possible. But how the schedule looks, the Monday session in the afternoon will be between kind of 2 till 4. That will be a really high intensity based sessions. It'll be your first session of the week where we can really get some legs into the players. Amy will be doing a lot of work as far as the physical side of the game goes. Myself and Lucy will be putting on some kind of small group but fast intensity drills, such as kind of keep balls and small sided games. So that Monday afternoon session will be your real high intensity session to get the week started and to kick us off as a team. Going into Tuesday, as always, you'll start off with your morning lessons. After your morning lessons, you'll have your lunch break, so an opportunity to get some carbs on board and get some fluids on board. The afternoon session, again, between 2 till 4, that becomes more of a match prep session. So it's just going to be more of a low intensity session. It'll be all together as a team. And it's just be kind of putting a game plan together and the tactical side of the game ready for your Wednesday fixture. Going into Wednesday, the morning itself, if you do have catch-up lessons to do or you need to quickly crack on with some work, it's absolutely fine in the morning to come in and crack on with some work on the Wednesday AM. However, if we've got an away day, that Wednesday morning might be taken up with travel. So we might have to get into the minibuses and travel to wherever in the country for a match. And that might be a bit of a travel blocking as well. The fixtures themselves, as Tess went through a minute ago, the elite team will be playing in the ECFA Premier Division, with the development team playing in the AOC Regional Division. The under-21s academy also play their games on a Wednesday, so there can be up to 3 games on one site on that Wednesday. There might be teams travelling away and teams staying at home. So that's your match block and that's your match day. So you can really focus on your competitive side on the Wednesday. Going into Thursday, again, lessons, lunch, but the training session itself will be more of a kind of recovery-based session in the gym. So it's where we get all the players into the gym, we foam roll, we stretch, we cool down. For those players, especially who play kind of 90 minutes or potentially even more than 90 minutes if it was an extra time game. For those players who might have had a little bit less game time, so they might have only had kind of 60 or 30 minutes if they came on as a sub, we will then use that as an S&C session as well. So Amy will again split the group into what players need to recover and what players then need to be pushed. The players who need to be pushed will do some either weight work, they might do some cardio work on the equipment we've got on site, they might do some core workout or a HIIT session. So those players who need to ramp up their load a little bit so they get as much game time on the Wednesday, that's a perfect opportunity to get them into the gym and work on them. Friday, same routine of morning lessons and your lunch break to get some fluids and carbs on board. The Friday evening session or Friday afternoon session, I just say, that again will be another high intensity session on the pitch. So loads of technical drills, a bit more work from Amy working on the physical side of the game, a bit more for myself and Luce on small sided stuff and small possession drills to really get the miles in, get the Ks in. However, we might also use a break within that Friday, just do some analysis work as well. We have access to analysis footage such as Huddle, so we can get all the players into the classroom or get individuals into the classroom and break down the game on the Wednesday, watch some footage, potentially work on some individual development plan work. So we can use that Friday as a bit of a pitch session as well as analysis session. Before every session as well, we'll make a half an hour block where players can see Laura and they can get any taping done. They can have any prehab programs or rehab programs that might have been put in place. So it's not a rush around to finish lessons, finish your lunch, rush onto the pitch, get training straight away. You will have a break in between where you can, see Laura if you need to, or just rest if you need to before you get out on the pitch and into your training session. So that kind of takes you through Monday to Friday. And if you have a team you play for on the weekends, you've got Saturday and Sunday to kind of choose that time to go and play for your team on the weekend. Or if you don't, use Saturday and Sunday for some rest, ready for the week coming up after that. Thanks, Tess.
just to add to that, obviously, if there are, depending on the subject and the courses that you choose to study, there are sometimes occasional timetable clashes that we may have to manage with training. For the most part, we try and work around it, especially with the sports studies courses. So if you're doing some of the BTEC courses, these usually work quite well. Occasionally, if there are some A-level clashes, we sometimes see the odd one there where we may have to just look at a slightly revised individual training program, which might involve you missing maybe an afternoon of a session, but we'll work around that. The key thing that you have to recognise is that we'll try and avoid those clashes, but ultimately as a student, your education must always come first. And if there are clashes, we would expect any of the girls to attend their lessons rather than training, and we will work around their training program to manage that. So please just be aware of that, and hopefully, as I said, we can work around individualized training programs for everybody. We're also conscious that as part of that week, there's a lot of football taking place. So we also try and work really closely with, if you are playing for a club team that might also be playing on a Saturday or a Sunday, and also maybe training a couple of times during the week in the evenings, we want to work with you and the club to try and ensure that we don't overload your training program. So we'll talk with you, we'll talk with the club to try and ensure that the program is designed and it's quite individual. So there may be times where you might not necessarily attend every single session, and we want to try and work with you and the club to get the best out of you and not overload you too much. Next slide. Really just around expectations. So I think, as you're probably aware, if you are going to combine both football and your studies, it's not the easiest of things to do. There's a lot of things that you're trying to manage, but there's also a lot of expectations that come with being part of a program like this, and it's important that you recognise there's a commitment to both your education and to the football. It's not just about coming to Oaklands and to Arsenal for football. We expect you to be committed to both your football and your education in the same way, and in many ways, as I said, the education is the priority over the football. With that, we expect every student to come ready to work hard at every session, and in every one of their classes, show a commitment to everything that they do, whether that's on the pitch or off the pitch. Full attendance at every lesson, as well as all of the training sessions, unless it's agreed that there are sessions that you won't or can't and aren't able to attend, and that there's an expectation that you are punctual, whether that's to our training sessions, but also to all of your lessons and lectures that are being delivered by your tutors at college. Making sure that you complete all of your work to deadlines and keeping up to date with that, and be polite, courteous, and have good manners, both when you're on site and at college, but also when you're representing the college and us as a program. So we think that's a really important thing for us to make you all aware of. It's also important that sort of across all of those that everybody recognises that we want the girls to succeed. We want them to be professional in the way that they work, but we also want them to enjoy and be successful in their progress whilst they're with us. So hopefully, as I said, the combination can be managed really well. That we work really closely with the education, the heads of all of the different departments in the education teams, to ensure that we're aware of the fact that if some of the students are struggling, then we can try and help them manage their programs. And also, we're very much aware that if they're not attending lessons, that we as an academy will also be aware of that, and we have the opportunity and will, if need be, insist that that players will not train or play if they aren't completing all of their work and attending all of the lessons that they should be. So there's a little bit of a carrot and a stick there, in that if you're not attending all of your lessons, then you won't be playing on Wednesdays. So it's really important that you manage to combine both and attend all of the things that you're expected to do across the programme. The next thing really is just to kind of highlight that focus around, we are very much what we call a dual career academy, which is very much just ensuring that there's an equal balance to the importance of you and your football development, as well as ensuring that you have another career plan. For some of you may be hoping that, you know, a professional football career might be an option, but also for some it may not be the case. But what we want to ensure is that we want to try and support both of those, so that whilst you're here, it will be very much about supporting your academic aspirations in whatever subject it might be, but also trying to help you be a footballer. For some people, football may be, they know, or they are very close to, you know, being a professional footballer, and they that's very very possible for them. But yet even those players that may have that opportunity still need to have another career option in case for any reason they get injured, their career suddenly ends. They need to be able to make sure they've got both options available, and that's key to what we'll do. So we'll be very much trying to support both. And as I said just before, it's important that if you don't attend your academic classes and lessons, then that will have an impact both on training and games as well. Next, really, one of the other parts to what we're able to offer as a programme is really trying to sort of support you off the pitch as well as on the pitch, as well as your education. So as part of that, the girls will have access to workshops that will help them manage being a student athlete. These will include things like, you know, balancing and managing your work programs, time management, nutritional advice, managing and sort of dealing with your injuries, things like looking around your next steps, which might be around career planning or going to university, whether that may be university in the UK or in the out to the US, which is very often a situation where we see a large number of girls that do see this as a stepping stone to a scholarship out in the States. Also just trying to support the girls around their mental and physical well-being, things like managing their finances, learning to communicate. And the reason I put, there's a picture here of Alex Scott, that Alex was obviously a student at Oaklands, played at Arsenal for a number of years, but I think everybody that's probably seen her face on a number of things, whether it's, you know, Strictly Come Dancing, Match of the Day, or wherever it might be, Alex was very much one of those players, even when she was playing at Arsenal, that was very much focused around ensuring that she knew she wanted to have a career in the media. And she was working on that and completing qualifications and gaining experience, even while she was still playing at Arsenal before she retired. So I think it's important that you recognise that even those players at the top level of the game will also start to have one eye on what next as well as their football, and we see that as a real important thing. Sort of not lastly, but coming towards the end of our presentation really now, is just to kind of also obviously highlight the fact that we have a brand new residential facility that's due to open in September. The works are still just continuing, but they're just in the final stages of putting all of the last bits of the facility together to be ready to open up an 80-bed secure residential block that will enable a lot of our academy students from all different sports, whether that's the football, basketball, rugby students, all to be able to live on campus and sort of be in a elite performance environment, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. So if there are students that do live a little bit further away and they're not in travelling distance to Oaklands, then there is that opportunity for players and students to live on campus. Obviously there is a cost to that, and that cost would be obviously passed on to yourselves as students or parents, and there are a limited number of places, but if you are interested in that, you would also need to just apply to the college for a residential application pack if you're interested in that, and you would need to do that quite soon based on the fact that places are being allocated already for September. So that's the residential provision. Really just also to kind of highlight that obviously you're conscious of we're conscious of the fact that there's a whole array of different sports academies that are really elite, programs that we run at Oaklands, and these are some of the success stories that have come through the Oaklands College program over recent years. The one that obviously is in the middle there, Melissa Phyllis, who I mentioned earlier. Mel joined Oaklands 2 years ago. She's been with us as a student, but also been part of the WSL Academy at Arsenal, and has progressed through, played at England under 17s, 18s, under 19s, and as I said, is now a regular sort of face in our Arsenal women's first team training program, and hopefully we'll be looking to gain a professional contract very soon with us. Other examples there: Jack Singleton from rugby, Daryl Nieta from athletics. So again, both examples of other sort of athletes that have come through the academy program at Oaklands, and hopefully highlights that we're able to provide an elite environment, not just for football, but also for students to come into a performance environment and interact and work alongside other sports athletes from other sports as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour of some of the things that we can offer. As far as sort of the next steps, if you are still obviously keen to join us at Oaklands, obviously part of the evening was really to give you this information because of the fact that we haven't been able to hold any trials since back in February. So we are still hoping to be able to offer another trial opportunity for those players that have registered with us. We're hoping that we may be able to do this in early August when the restrictions start to ease. We're conscious they have eased slightly in that there are sort of social distance type small group training is now able to happen, but obviously that doesn't enable us to see enough of players at the moment, and we would really need to have players in a more contact environment to be able to make an assessment on their ability levels. We're hoping that we can do some type of trial opportunity in August, and we'll keep you posted on that as soon as we know. We're just hoping for some more updates really from the government and the FA around that. In the meantime, if you are interested and you haven't yet been able to, and you may have video footage, if you've got match footage of games that you may have played in, this is also a great opportunity for us to be able to view the footage. So if you can share that with us, it may be an opportunity that it enables us to see enough of your ability level and provide a decision without a trial. So please feel free, if you have got that type of footage, please do share that with us. In the meantime, from a sort of academic perspective, we just obviously want to ensure that you have already applied for a course at the college. If you haven't already done that and you are still considering us, then please do make sure you go online onto the website and apply for the course that you're interested in. And hopefully, as I said, we can then offer, and the college will be able to provide you with a conditional offer based on the fact that you obviously obtain the qualifications that you need. And obviously, the other part of that condition would obviously be to gain a place with us at the academy. If you don't gain a place at the academy, that doesn't mean to say you can't attend Oaklands, and we would obviously encourage you to still want to join us. But also, please note that obviously if you do apply for a course via the website, it doesn't mean that you're committed to us, but it just ensures that we can hold a place for you if you do choose to come and join us in September. Once you've applied, you are then just required to complete an academic interview with the college staff, and I think at the moment most of those have been done either sort of via phone calls or online. And then obviously the next step would then be for us to be able to make a decision and either offer you a place or confirm that you're not of the standard where we would be able to offer you an academy place at this particular time. So if you are then offered a place, the next steps would then really be we would then ask you to join us for some online sessions between now and September, become part of the squad, meet up whenever we start and we're in a position to get back to being on site and joining us as college starts back in September. We would also just ask, one of the things, there's no cost to the to being part of the programme. The only thing that we do ask, and all of the players are required to do, is to buy a Adidas Oaklands kit package, which is probably in the region of about £300 to £350. This is also kit that if you're a sports student, so if you're on a sports studies course, this is the kit that you would also wear, which has sort of Oaklands Wolves branding on it, that you can wear both as your training kit and also for your sports kit on and around campus. And obviously the last part then is we would just then expect to hopefully see you in September. Last little note just to add to this, just in case we have got anybody that's joined us from overseas, is that unfortunately at the moment we're unable to accept any students from overseas for September, but that's not to say that that wouldn't be possible for future years. But at this moment in time, we're not able to accept any students from overseas into the programme for September. So that's kind of the next steps. I think the key thing obviously is hopefully we will be able to communicate that we'll be able to have some trials shortly, but we are still very much sort of limited to what we can do based on the current COVID and government restrictions. Based on that, I'm sure you may or may not have any questions, and hopefully I know Chris had popped a message in the group to just ask if you do have any questions, then please do shout. Please pop them in the group, and obviously anybody can, we can answer any of them. If you don't feel that you want to ask a question this evening, I'm sure you all have our email address at arsenalwomen@oaklands.ac.uk, which hopefully will give you an opportunity to just drop us any questions that you may not feel that you wish to ask, and we'll try and come back to you. And if you do have any questions, please shout. I'm just trying to see if there's any questions in the group that anybody does want to share.
We just had the one question, Tess, just about saying is training footage sufficient? Again, as Tessa said, any training or match footage which could be sent to our arsenalwomen@oaklands.ac.uk account would be great. So I've put the email address in the chat just in case anyone hasn't got the email, but any match or training footage which could be sent to that account would be great.
Yeah, that just, and as I said, if the video footage does enable us to make a decision, we will do. If unfortunately it's sort of very individual type, you know, sort of just player and sort of one-to-one type activities, it's a little bit harder for us to make a sort of a decision on players' abilities just in a one-on-one environment. But obviously if we can see more match type footage, it gives us a better idea, and there's a better chance of us being able to give you a decision before then. So and as I said, any other questions that you do have, please feel free to drop us over an email. And lastly, really just to say a big thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you found it useful. We hope that you may still be keen to join us. And as I said, if you do have any further questions that you want to ask, feel free to throw them in the chat now or drop us an email. And other than that, hopefully you found it useful, and we may see you in September.
Just a quick question. Got a few questions in the chat, Tess. I'll quickly try and make my way through them. So just the first question, do you ever have a situation when players don't get enough players to play matches? This is dependent on so many factors such as injuries at one time, or so on and so forth. You know, if the other college might have injuries, just like any game, we plan to play as many games as possible. If that situation, I can't promise that situation won't arise during the season for either our college or another college. But, you know, as amount of players we have coming into the programme, we hope we have enough cover to cover ourselves for every game or as many games as possible.
Right, you're picking that one up. Any other questions in there?
How can we find out more about accommodation? Because I can't find a form from the website. Okay.
If you do just drop us an email, I'm happy to put you in contact with the residential department. they or as I said, the other way that you can get in contact with anybody at the college is to actually there's a contact us at oaklands.ac.uk. If you drop the contact centre an email, they'll more than happy pass it on to the residential team, and we can get a residential pack out to you. So if you are keen or still interested in looking at the residential option, then yes, that's still an option there.
One of the questions: if I'm 18, am I still expected to attend Oaklands, or could I do something elsewhere? I think I can answer that one about playing for the Oaklands Wolves team. You have to attend the college to play for the Oakland Wolves team. Just as part of one of the main requirements is to be on site and to be attending the college.
Obviously, the only difference there is obviously there are players obviously that are in the WSL academy. So players that are older are sometimes selected for that particular squad. But at this point in the season, we have now offered all of our places across the WSL academy to those players that we had recruited over the course of the season or retained within our own programs. So at this moment in time, there wouldn't be an opportunity within the WSL academy. It would purely be a college place at Oaklands if you were interested.
Madison just sent a question about her footage. I've applied to play in a defender position, but my footage matches as a striker. That's absolutely fine, Madison. If you could still send the footage over, because we can take away stuff such as current kind of technical ability from passing, striking the ball, receiving techniques that you use in any position anyway. So please send that footage over regardless of whether you applied as a defender and your footage is you shown as a striker. That's absolutely fine. We would love to see the footage still. That'd be great. Just trying to make my way through them all. For those who have finished A-level/BTEC and are looking to do higher education courses at Oaklands, as well as to be part of the football programme, will this academic layout be similar to the A-level/BTEC process in terms of training times and classes, etc.? That's from Ralston.
You able to answer that one, Elliot? Sorry,
just trying to read through it again.
I think Chris has answered it below.
Has he?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he has. Yeah. Cheers, Chris.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, have we managed to get most of the other questions?
I think we're almost done.
So I think Martha just asked a question. I don't know if we'd answered that one. Does that mean I can't attend a trial because I'm post A-level, but none of the courses are what I want to do? Unfortunately, it would be that you wouldn't be able, if you are already post A-levels or BTEC FE age group, and you all have already completed that, then unfortunately, yes, at this moment in time, there wouldn't be an opportunity to be part of the programme unless you were to look at any other type of course that you wanted to come back to Oaklands to attend. So hopefully that answers the question for you, Martha.
Madison, is there a separate team to play in if you don't get into any of the academies? For this program, you know, the teams we have are a development and elite teams and academy teams. So we'll be looking within this to fill players within them teams. Oaklands don't have any other football sides, as far as I'm aware. I don't believe they have any other football teams. It's just Oaklands. So it would be for either development, elite, or academy for this program.
Yeah. We try to accommodate for most ability levels across the 3 different programs, but ultimately there may not always be a space there for everybody. If you are looking for a team and you don't have a team to play for, then please do make contact with us. We've got lots of connections with local clubs and teams that we'd be more than happy to try and advise you to find a team if you haven't already got one. Ooh.
What is the rate of success for students making it into the WSL? Well, as far as if that's making it into the Women's Super League as a whole, I mean, Arsenal Academy's record kind of speaks for itself as far as players who are currently playing in WSL and gone through our academy at some stage. It's, you know, the list is pretty endless at the minute of players who are even towards the end of their career, but still come through the Arsenal Academy in their younger side. As far as players who are college players who've gone into the Arsenal Academy, so maybe being at the elite side, Oakland Wolves elite, and then gone into the academy team. Last season we had 3 players, so we had a couple who come and join us, kind of probably about 3/4 of the way through the season, perform really well at college level, perform really well within training sessions with the under-21s, which they got invited to, and then eventually got their opportunity to go and play on a match day for them as well. So we had 3 from last season who went from Oakland Wolves into the Arsenal under-21 side. And as far as success rate of WSL, I mean, it a lot of hard work to get into first team level, but the success rate's been high throughout the years. It's just many factors go into that. From
our WSL Academy squad last year, I think there were at least 4 players that were involved. I think 5 players that were involved in the Arsenal Women First Team, whether that was through training or some of them actually being involved in games. And I think, we expect that, again, there'll be another 2 or 3 of our academy players that will be training and involved in getting opportunities in and around the first team again this season. So hopefully that answers your question, Abby, so that you've got an idea as to what that pathway looks like there. Okay. And it doesn't look, I think, like we've answered most of the questions. I think we've got them all. We've talked about accommodation. We've talked about footage. Yeah. I think that looks as if we've answered all of your questions. But obviously, as I mentioned, if there are anything that you haven't thought of or you think about afterwards, then please do drop us an email. It's been great to obviously hopefully have you all on board and listen in this evening. And if you do have any other questions, whether it's related to Oaklands as a college or whether it's the Football Academy, please do reach out and speak to us. And hopefully, as I said, we may see some of you in for trials, or we may be able to see your footage to be able to make some decisions in the next few weeks. Other than that, a big thank you to you all for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed listening in. Hopefully you found it useful, and we look forward to seeing you all at some point soon.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Team.